This Lisa Cook matter is going to end in the Supreme Court, but there was something called Trump versus Wilcox that we thought gave us a pretty good idea of where the court would land on this. What do you think?
The court is clearly very uncomfortable with a politicized Fed. The court's precedents say that Congress can insulate specialized economic agencies from presidential firings. The Supreme Court in the Wilcox case made pretty clear that they don't agree with that precedent, but they also indicated that the Fed was different. And the court now is going to have to decide whether they meant it and they are going to prevent the president from taking full control of the Fed, or whether they're going to go all the way down the road with a unified executive.
Who will define cause in this case? That was argued for the better part of 2 hours. The president says there is cause. Peter Navarro sat in this chair the other night saying that she had 5 days to respond. We didn't hear from her, and the documents speak for themselves.
Well, I don't think due process by Truth Social is quite what the founders had in mind when they wrote the Constitution. If they think she did something wrong, the standard approach is to bring charges against her.
Yes.
Make specific charges, say what the documents you think in them is inappropriate, and let her respond to that. That she's not engaging in a social media battle, I think, speaks well of her and her trying to stay out of politics.
So what the president is actually asking for is the ability to fire without cause.
That's what he's asking for. And he has that, according to the Supreme Court, with most other agencies. But the evidence that politicized central banks hurt countries' economies around the world is pretty compelling, and I don't think the Supreme Court wants to take responsibility for that.
Let's look at a slightly bigger picture here, because it's more than the Fed we're talking about.
Sure.
Of course, David, on the early edition of Balance of Power today, I spoke with Natasha Sarin, president and co-founder of the Yale Budget Lab, and had some things to say about the bigger risks surrounding this focus specifically on Governor Lisa Cook. Listen.
It's such a bigger issue than anything about Lisa Cook or anything about mortgages, in that you're in a situation where one of the fundamental institutions and sort of causes of American economic strength is the fact that we have an independent central bank. What you're seeing here play out is really a sort of potentially quite damaging conversation around whether that type of institution should actually be free from political influence.
Cook's lawsuit, David, characterizes this move as unprecedented and illegal. The first one is true, apparently. A president has never fired a Federal Reserve governor. What about the second?
I think it is illegal. The Supreme Court has made pretty clear the president doesn't have this power with respect to the Federal Reserve. Their precedents say that, and I don't think that this is going to be allowed.
So this goes to the Supreme Court? Is that conventional wisdom something that you accept?
Absolutely. The administration would not accept an answer from any lower court, and I think the administration here is hoping that the Supreme Court will back down. They've warned the administration not to fire Fed governors. The administration is ignoring them, and they're hoping the Supreme Court will buckle.
When you look at the big picture here, add the CDC, add BLS, the Transportation Board, what is President Trump doing to government and these independent agencies as he tries to reshape Washington in his image?
Well, he doesn't believe in independent agencies. He believes that all power and all responsibility should go to the president. He and Vice President Vance are the only ones that were elected, and he wants complete control. That's not the way we've done things in this country for a very long time, but he thinks we need to make a change.
Got it. Many thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
As we figure this out. It's going to take some time, and I'll ask you lastly what you think for timeline, because this is a Supreme Court that could be motivated to move pretty quickly here.
I think the Supreme Court's going to move very quickly on this because of the danger of economic uncertainty.
Weeks or months?
Several weeks, but no more.